everybody, and welcome to From a Mother's Basement, the show that celebrates being a geek. I'm Jason.
And I am Michael.
And Michael, what have you been up to this past week?
Costuming.
How
Been
is
doing a
that
lot of
coming along?
costuming. I'm sorry?
How is that coming along? I know you and Nikki have been working on it
It's
for a
going, I
while.
finished the boots.
Good.
They are fully assembled. I just
Nice.
have to put the, um, the grommets in for the lacing, and
Okay.
they're done. And then I've got the inserts for the soles.
You
Or
shall
for the-
share them when you're complete.
Oh yeah, totally.
Sweet.
And we're working on secondary costume because there's 2 days where there's going to be costumes involved, but the secondary costume is fairly easy.
Okay.
The one that she's actually going to be wearing for the Halloween night activities, and then the other one's for Kamikaze.
Which is very smart, given the fact that no costume should be worn more than once in a single weekend.
Unless you've got access to dry cleaners, yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Other than that, what I've been up to, I actually, and I should have put this in the notes. Well, that'll be for the what have you been watching section. Because I actually picked up a movie and finally saw a movie we've been talking about off and on, and we'll have to talk about again because Batfleck's coming to town. So.
Oh, you finally saw Dark Knight?
No, Man of Steel.
Ah, okay, yeah. We'll have to talk
I have
about
some opinions on it.
Okay, we'll use that at the end.
We'll get that towards the end. Other than that, just been, focusing on life, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Not a lot going on show-wise. Although I did, and I'm going to jump in a little bit because we're going to be starting with DC stuff anyway.
Yes.
I saw the premiere of The Flash.
I saw the first 2 episodes. We'll definitely have to talk about.
Oh, there's a second episode out already?
Yes.
I missed it?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, well, I saw episode 1, and I have to say, I'm actually I kind of like it.
I do too.
I mean, okay. Of the there are a lot of people who are like, oh, you should read the graphic novels and blah, blah, blah. It sucks. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. Don't compare it to the fucking graphic novels. The core instance of what it is there, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
But no, don't compare it to the comics because the comics will kick its ass.
Well, of course. I mean, the thing is, though, you've never been able. We'll just go into this right now. Why not? We
Sure.
can't.
Now, unlike Gotham, I'm sorry. I am so pissed at Gotham.
I've watched 2 episodes. I've been still DVRing it, but I haven't brought myself to watch more.
Yeah.
But with the Flash, and especially with just comic book adaptations in general, with TV, I just look at it as you're never going to get an exact verbatim copy, the one that you really want if you've actually read the comics. And that's just for the sole fact that people who read comics, unfortunately, are far dwarfed by people who don't.
That's true. But they're starting to become mainstream now, which is a
little
mixed
more,
bag
yes.
of goods.
Yes.
You have to write things that will pull in more of an audience, but at the same time, you don't want to lose the soul of the story.
Right.
Which is what I think they did with Gotham. With Flash, I like the tie into Arrow.
Which,
in the pilot.
Right, because there was that crossover last season.
I'm waiting for them to tie in Smallville because they haven't eliminated this being tied to Smallville. I actually liked Smallville up to a point.
I would not be surprised if they don't, and here's my reason why.
Because all the other actors have moved on?
Well, there's that, yes. Plus also the fact that DC wants to focus on the Man of Steel movie franchise. And they've already confirmed that the TV universe and the movie universe are 2 separate entities.
Which is why they could bring Smallville into
Oh, no, they totally could. It's feasible that they could. I'm just saying, I'm looking at...
the cinematic universe and the TV universe are completely different. I get that.
Right.
They're not doing a Marvel.
Exactly. And then what's probably going to happen is that DC's going to say, okay, we have these 2 different universes. Which one do we want to focus on more for Superman? They're going to my guess is they're going to go Man of Steel. They're going to go with the cinematic universe.
Yeah, no, totally. And well, yeah, we'll talk about Man of Steel at the at the end, but
with all the adaptations out there, you got to have that blend of let's keep something from the comic books in terms of the story and maybe some character development, but everything else is going to have to be sadly generalized. I mean,
yes and no.
Look at Gotham.
You have to do it without sacrificing the soul of the character and the story. They didn't. I mean, in the case of well, we'll talk about Man of Steel in a minute, but you don't want to do where they're basically throwing canon complete. Okay, in Gotham, they're throwing canon out the fucking window.
Yes, they are.
It's gone.
It's
Forget
just
it.
it's just a cash grab, as far as I'm aware.
Exactly. It's a cash grab. Um, and they're trying to attract teens and tweens and all that other crap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest. Catwoman, or excuse me, Selena, served zero purpose
Other than to do the
other
comic
than to
book
strike
poses.
every pose she's ever struck on a comic cover. That's all she served in the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Not that being said, I loved Harvey Bullock. I liked the character of Fish Mooney, though she's completely new, I think. But the rest is really, come on, guys, you can do better than this.
Yeah. But with
Flash, they did a good job, though.
Flash, I think they did a really good job. HPO in the chat is correct, is that the story point at the end of episode 1, the pilot episode, could have been saved for like a season-ending cliffhanger.
Oh yeah,
or whatnot.
yeah. Why the hell did they throw that in now?
Yeah, that was very, very early on. Unless
I mean,
they're gonna
I
start
had the idea that there was something up with that guy anyway. But
the end of the episode kind of confirmed it, and
yeah, and you still don't know if he's a good guy or bad guy.
I just look at it this way. Now kind of showcasing, at least to the comic book fans, who he is. You're going to see probably a sped up version of what happened in the comics. I mean, albeit heavily generalized, but you know what? So far, over the first 2 episodes, they've struck a good chord on a balance between the two.
I need to see the second episode. I haven't seen it yet. But,
Okay.
But if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong because the person who could probably answer that question is right behind me. Isn't Star Labs at one point bought by LexCorp?
I couldn't respond. I'm not sure.
Okay, I thought they were.
Okay.
But I want to see where they go with it. I'm liking Flash so far. You're right. They should have that one bit. They should have moved.
Mm-hmm. I'm liking how they're handling the effects for the powers. That
I really liked how they handled the Storm guy.
Yeah, that worked well.
That was really good. How do you handle a guy running faster than sound? There's only so
much you could do,
yeah,
but the aesthetics of it have actually, I think, have kept up.
Yeah, you can't do it and not have it look at least a little cheesy.
Well, of course. I mean, not to mention you're talking TV budget, not movie budget.
No, even on movie budget, you can't do something. A guy running a bajillion miles an hour is going to look comical.
It's going to look awesome, though.
It's going to be awesome, but it's still going to look comical.
Yes.
You can't help that. It's just the nature of some guy running fast. Anyone who's grown up with Warner Brothers cartoons knows this.
Yes. Yes.
But with what they had to work with, they did really well.
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely one that I will definitely be continuing to watch. And we could talk about what we've been watching at the end of the show as usual. But let's jump from the DC TV universe to the DC cinematic universe,
which has some really interesting bits of news.
Yeah, especially because during a recent press conference call or something like that, they released a ton of information over the next 5-6 years.
Yeah, and George Clooney apologized for his Batman.
That was great.
Immediately followed by Val Kilmer tweeting saying he didn't apologize for his. I actually kind of liked his, though.
Yeah, it kind of worked well. I liked it. What we're talking about is they basically release the
tentative schedule.
The tentative schedule for all their movies up to 2020. We've already confirmed there's a Shazam movie. Yes, there's a Flash movie coming out in 2018. There's a standalone Aquaman movie coming out in 2018 as well. That was a bit of a surprise.
I think this is all lead in to the Justice League film.
Well, that's the thing, though, because Justice League, the first movie, is already slated for November 17th, 2017. So these individual movies are taking place afterwards.
But they could be backfill.
They could, well, yes. And they're going to have a hell of a lot of backstory to talk about within a first Justice League film. I mean, because, yes, you're already going to have Batman, Superman. You have Wonder Woman having her own movie beforehand. You have Justice League in November of 2017.
Is it going to be Gal Gadot in the Wonder Woman movie, though?
Are
they going to wait and see?
My guess is because they've already casted her as Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman, I think she's going to just keep that role. Just for the sole fact that You already have Ben Affleck, as Batman. He's going to be kept around. He may even be also directing Justice League.
Oh
So,
Jesus.
so you have that. I think at this point, DC's going to do the same thing as Marvel and basically grab
You're
all
locked
these.
in the
Yeah,
character.
you're locked to this character for a 6 picture deal.
I want to give her a chance. I really do. But I mean, I'll give him points for casting a non-American born
Mm-hmm.
for the role. I'll give him points for that. But she's got a lot of, in my mind anyway,
Mm-hmm.
she's got a lot of work to do to impress me that she could be Wonder Woman. I'm still leaning towards the Cindy Landau club. That's the woman who should be Wonder Woman in my brain.
Okay. But with regards to other casting calls or casting
Yeah,
confirmations,
I'm trying to remember who they announced didn't they announce who was going to be Aquaman?
Aquaman is Jason Momoa.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Conan,
Yep.
or was it Caldago?
I mean, he probably could easily pull it off.
Oh, he can. He can. I actually like him a
I'm
lot.
my main concern with an Aquaman movie is that you could throw the stigma from the comic out the window. I want to know is who's going to be writing the story and how well is that going to be written.
And is he going to be as lame as he was in the video game? Because let's be honest, that was the lamest crossover
Yes.
ever. It's one of the top
Yes,
10
it
worst
was.
games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the other ones is the original Superman game, but that's beside the point.
Here's the thing, though. With the Flash movie, we already confirmed the TV series and the movie is going to be completely separate universes.
Yeah, who are they going to
You
cast?
have Ezra Miller playing the Flash in the movie version. Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash / Barry Allen in the TV series, nowhere near.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, really, we're going to have Ezra Miller? I mean, kind of an emo kid.
I don't remember who Ezra Miller is. I'm sorry.
He recently was in, I don't know if you ever saw The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh, he's an emo kid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it. I don't see movies like
Which
that.
is,
But
I still find it funny how they went with him, probably because they couldn't afford Neil Patrick Harris, which a lot of people wanted to play.
Neil Patrick Harris is the Flash?
I think he could pull it off.
Yeah, he probably could, but I keep seeing him as Dr. Horrible. So
Hey, that just
Speaking
means
of which,
we can get Nathan Fillion involved somehow.
that would be awesome. They've also aren't they they're doing another Green Lantern movie, I heard.
Yes, and this one's gonna be a complete reboot. So all the Ryan Reynolds ones are out the window.
Which is okay.
I'm
What do
perfectly
you mean all
fine
Ryan
with that.
Reynolds ones. There was one Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You take everything he did with that movie, Ryan Reynolds for Green Lantern, throw out the window so he can focus on Deadpool.
Yes.
I'm fine with that.
I'm totally down with that. What I'm honestly hoping they do with the Green Lantern is I'm hoping they don't do the character that Reynolds played. I'm hoping they do the black one from the animated series. I forget John. God, what is his last name? I want to say Connor, but that's Terminator.
No. Bit of wrong.
Come with me if you want to live. No, I've got a green ring. It's I don't remember, but I'm hoping they do that one because there
That could
are
be
a
good.
lot of good actors out there who could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Their names are escaping me at
Okay,
the moment.
no worries. A few of the other titles, Shazam, which we've already talked about before.
And I think casting as The Rock as Black Adam was fantastic.
That's great. Absolutely
Yeah,
great.
I'm looking forward to that.
There was one that threw me off. His entire lineup. That's actually one of the early ones.
Mhm.
It's the next movie after Batman v Superman.
Uh-huh.
And that was a Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, I heard about that. Have they announced which characters are coming in? I know Deadshot is, but have they confirmed who the other characters
The
are
only
yet?
other, not really. They haven't. I mean, there's a slew of casting rumors out there, including Will Smith of all people.
Okay, that would make him one of if they're keeping racial lines contiguous,
Mm-hmm.
that makes him one of two characters that I can think of.
Well, there's Cyborg, and then there's
Okay, three characters.
okay. Well, because that's the other thing
Well,
though.
Cyborg's not in Suicide Squad though.
But Cyborg is in Justice League, and
He
they've
is
already
in Justice League, but
and
he's
they
not in
did
Suicide
confirm
Squad.
there's going to be a Cyborg standalone movie in like 2018.
Okay, well, if you're talking about casting for Suicide Squad movie,
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's either probably do something in Suicide Squad, or he may
which
take
would make
over.
him either Black Spider or I think it's Black Spider, something Spider, the ninja dude, or Black Mana,
Right.
which they never really identified the race of Black Mana that I can recall.
True.
I'm sure they have, but
Here's the thing, though. You throw this in the mix so early on, and now we have to all be confused on who the hell is going to play Harley Quinn.
Well, and that's the thing is, are they going to be bringing Harley Quinn? They haven't said they're bringing her into it.
I think
she's
you
a
kinda
relatively
have
new
to,
add
though.
to the squad.
I think you kind of have to, though, just for the name recognition alone.
Well, yeah, and depending on who you get to play her, you're going to get a lot of people. I mean, you tell me Harley Quinn's in the movie, I'm going to be there. Even if it's a complete turkey, I'm going to be there.
Of course you are.
But, you know, I'm pretty sure, from what I understand, and this is, I don't have anything to confirm this, but I thought I read this somewhere. They're definitely going to have Deadshot. They're probably going to have Captain Boomerang.
Yes.
Which, God, please don't bring in Russell Crowe. You can't bring in Russell Crowe because he's Jor-El. And they are keeping the movies consistent. So I mean, there's a number of potential people. You could bring in Carl Urban, I suppose, if you really wanted to.
The one that I think is probably the most probable is actually Amanda Weller. You're going to need someone, an overseer.
Amanda Waller?
Waller, yeah, sorry, Waller. As an overseer for.
Is it going to be the
Suicide
skinny
Squad.
Waller or the fat Waller? I want it to be the fat Waller.
Here's the thing, though. Waller was in the Green Lantern movie back in 2011, which was played
the Green
by
Lantern movie from 2011 is being thrown away.
Right, but I can look at DC going, okay, let's take some established people who were in this movie and throw them in the reboot. Which means if they're going to bring Waller into the new Green Lantern,
Okay,
what's
now
to
I have
stop
to
them
look
from
up who played
taking
Waller in that one?
Angela Bassett?
Okay, I could see Angela Bassett as Waller.
I think Angela Bassett would actually be an amazing.
I think she'd be good.
Call.
Who else would be good is the woman who did her voice in the animated series.
Who was that?
Oh God, she's in Warehouse 13. She played Mrs. Fredrickson.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that again. It's been so long since I watched it. So.
Oh God, she was also in Carmen Sandiego, I think, for a little while, in the kids show.
Oh, okay. You talking about the chief that did all the questions?
No. That's a different woman.
Oh, okay.
She was in it briefly. Got replaced by the woman who ended up being the chief.
Ah, okay.
God, I forget her name.
Oh well.
Either way, she would be. I mean, if you're gonna do the fat Waller, forgive me for putting it that way, but if you're gonna go with the heavier Waller, this woman who was the voice of the animated character needs to be the physical embodiment because she's got the attitude, she can carry it, she's got the build, she's got the presence to do that role. If they go skinny Waller, go with Bassett. Bassett would be fantastic.
I can go with either way on that.
Yeah.
But we'll get more into the
What
DC.
other critters are they going to bring in? I mean, unfortunately, the way they deal with most metahumans, you know, they're not going to bring in King Shark because it'd be too much. They're not going to do. They wouldn't do the CG
Right.
for it. They'd make it some sort of mechanical chompy chomp thing, which would be really lame in my opinion.
Well, you know.
If they did, and they couldn't really do Killer Croc, I think he was in on. I think wasn't he on it very briefly?
Like a one-off, I think.
Oh, back to Flash for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch the Easter eggs? Some of the characters in the references in the first pilot.
Define which ones, and I'll let you know.
Grodd's cage.
Grodd's cage. Well, that was kind of blatant. They had a 30-second
know,
pan
but
onto
just-
that shot.
That was like awesome. I saw that and going, holy shit! Okay, Grodd's gonna show up at some point.
That's gonna be awesome. Multiplex shows up in episode 2, so
Does he?
yes,
Nice.
and it actually works very well. So yeah, I haven't caught all of them. I know there's some articles online showcasing every single spoiler and Easter egg and whatnot.
Yeah, and some of them are a stretch.
But you know what? That's what one of the nice things of having these TV adaptations is the fact that you can go back and actually look into all these
That's
little Easter eggs that were designed for the comic fans themselves.
That's true. And in case, and we'll talk about it later, but Man of Steel, there's a few of them too.
Mm-hmm.
But I want them to announce who's going to be on the team. That's what I'm not going to get excited about Suicide Squad until you tell me who's on the team.
Well, given the fact they have less than 2 years before the scheduled release date, and if they don't push that back, they're gonna have to make announcements very soon.
Oh yeah, yeah, because they have to. You figure it's going to be a year of filming
Mm-hmm.
and a year of post.
Yeah, they had at least a year in post, given how the effects are nowadays.
CCH Pounder, that's the actress.
Hmm. Think of her as the wall instead of the fat Waller.
The Wall.
Thank you, HPL. Um, before we move on to the Marvel stuff, you actually just picked up a new figure in the
Oh
DC universe.
yes, I did. So among the figures that are going around, there's a lot of really cool ones. You guys know I love the DC bombshells. Something came into the shop that Nikki came across and she brought home that is really good. Among the series that DC is doing, a lot of their pushes for stuff, is they're doing the Batman black and white series, which they've got a black and white version of the Joker, a couple of versions of it actually, a black and white version of Batman, and they have a black and white version of Harley.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it gets prettier. The sculpt is incredible. The paint job's great. There's a minor niggle on the way the smoke's going on the pistol, but there she is.
Very nice. Let me grab
She's
it.
about the height of. She's a little shorter than the bombshell figure,
Mm-hmm.
so she's about, I want to say 6.5, 7 inches tall.
Okay.
Um, but what I love is they went with the original Bruce Timm design.
Yes.
It's not the. I mean, I like a lot of the new designs, but the classic Harlequin animated series design that they went with on this is great.
It's so iconic, especially for the current generation who basically grew up watching the animated series.
Exactly. Well, and that's. I mean, she is one. I mean, she didn't exist prior to the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Dini made her for that series, so that she's taken off the way she has been phenomenal. But the quality of this figure is great. It's really it's a little loose in the stand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got two pins on her feet holding her in. And what I really like is what they do with the base too.
Yeah, that is a nice touch.
But they got two pins holding her in on the feet,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a little loose in there. I mean, it's not as tight, but she's she'll stay in there.
Crazy.
It's a wide base, so she's not going to be tipping over. She's a solid enough. She's a resin cast as opposed to a PVC, so you're not going to have to worry about her leaning or anything like that unless you like put her in front of a heat vent.
Yeah, I'm always so worried about my figures, especially because it gets so hot in this room. That
Oh yeah, exactly. You have to worry about them starting to go.
the first figure I ever bought did that about 6 months ago, and I had to put her back in the box.
We have the Orin figure from Final Fantasy X, the big one.
Uh-huh.
He had that problem. He just started leaning, and what we literally did, it's a trick I learned from Francie Pants actually. But I think Nikki found it somewhere else too. So we both came at it from different angles. But what she did was what Nikki did was she boiled it, literally, stuck it in boiling water to soften the plastic, and straightened it up, and then let it cool.
I'd be way too afraid to do something like
Depending
that.
on the figure, if you do it right and you're careful about it, it works.
Okay.
Because it softens up the plastic enough that you can bend it without worrying about stressing or fatiguing the plastic to where it'll break.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of articles online on how to do it.
Okay.
But this character, I don't think we're going to have that problem. It's a good, solid, cold cast resin.
Okay.
And like I said, the paint job's phenomenal. So she's well worth the $80 that she costs.
Yeah, that's not bad considering the quality
I'm not
that you
going to say
get.
we paid $80, but I'm saying the market price is $80.
The market price, yes. There's the MSRP, and then there's what everybody else pays.
Well, okay, Nikki works for the comic shop, so
exactly. There's discounts there.
So there's that. But yeah, no, it's. I was really pleased when she brought this home today. I didn't even know it existed prior to her bringing it home. So.
All right. Well, I want to get into this Marvel bit because the moment I found out, I linked it right to you and went, yes! Because I was waiting for this.
Oh, and in a Marvel. Oh, yeah, that. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So, according to a report from Variety, for Captain America 3, looks like Robert Downey Jr. is in final negotiations to join Captain America as Iron Man in there. Which, when you put those two in there, and they're already citing that this is going to be the start of the Civil War. I cannot
Storyline.
wait.
Yes.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm looking but what I'm really curious about is how they're going to tie the Civil War in with well, you got Age of Ultron coming up, followed by the Infinity Gauntlet,
Right.
and all of this is related. Is that
Mm-hmm.
Sue Storm?
Yeah, on the left side.
Ooh, Fantastic Four is coming back.
Yep.
What's really cool about the whole fact that they're saying flat out it's a Civil War storyline,
Yep.
and our dream is coming closer. Sony is talking to Marvel and saying, "Yeah, we'll let you have Spider-Man for this." But
Please make it
it's
happen.
official. I mean, it's official. They're doing it. So, which is kind of funny after they kind of did a cross pollination with
Mhm.
Days of Future Past in the Spidey movie. So
Right.
I think Sony's playing both sides against the middle. But
Well, they're going to come out on top in the they'll come out on top financially in the end. Marvel and all their legions of fans will come out on top in terms of the inclusion of Spider-Man in such an iconic story arc.
Well, exactly. And what I'm hoping, and this is again me dreaming, I really do hope that that Fox and
Marvel.
Marvel work something out, because the Civil War storyline is mutants versus non-mutants.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even, as it sits right now, you can't even use the word mutant
Yeah, exactly.
in a Marvel movie because of the licensing with Fox.
Hell, the mutants that show up in Agents of Shield, they have to call them gifted.
Oh no, yeah, that's right, because DC has the lock on metahuman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping. I mean, the fact that Sony's on the table
Mm-hmm.
gives me a little more hope that Fox will come back and say, "Okay, let's do this."
Okay. Just do a quick backtrack. For those of you who don't know what the Civil War comic event was, it was a pretty massive thing. There was a proposal of the Superhuman Registration Act, which was headed by Tony Stark, who said that every superpowered individual should be registered and trained. Whereas
And
tracked, yes, that's the big part, because Captain America was completely against this, and so the entire
for civil liberties, right?
yeah, the entire Marvel universe split in two on this thing. It took over, like Michael said, like well over a year for this entire story arc to come start to finish.
Yeah, and basically what it was is you had Tony Stark siding with the government, which was an interesting twist.
Yeah, that was, considering he likes to stick it to him all the time.
Yeah, but Tony Stark's saying, for citing security and whatnot, sticking with the government, and yet Captain America going, "Yeah, okay, I'm all for America, but civil liberties, guys." He goes and sides with the X-Men and all the mutants.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to adapt that storyline?
Here's my thought on it, because right off the bat, like you talked about, the Age of Ultron story arc is going to take place in Avengers 2, which is coming out next year, right?
Next year,
in
yeah.
2015. I just look at it as they're going to take this story arc, or essentially they're going to turn around and state that, yes, Tony Stark had his hand in the creation of Ultron and his giant legion of robots and whatnot. He's probably used that for world policing. I think that's what the article
Great! Tony
stated.
Stark makes his own version of the Sentinels.
Exactly. And the thing is, though, the Ultron sentient, I won't give that story away. You can read the comics for that. But my guess is, at the end of this movie, you're going to see Tony Stark sitting down somewhere saying, okay, this did not work. So what if we bring all the mutants around the world in on this, but they have to be regulated and tracked? I think that's where they're going to happen. And I fully see Civil War probably taking its course.
As a byproduct of the Age of Ultron?
Yes. And I'm guessing they'll probably take its full course before Avengers 3, before
the Infinity Gauntlet?
Before Infinity Gauntlet. That's my thought.
But I don't think you can and the problem with is a storyline as big as Civil War, you can't lock to one movie.
Well, that's why you take pretty much the remainder of Phase 2 movies and some of Phase 3, and you push it out through all of that. A Captain America 4 maybe, or because
Or another Spider-Man movie, or
mm-hmm.
I mean, and if they do get Fox on board, there's stuff they can do there too.
Get the X-Men movies involved with this. You could literally have a course of about 5 or 6 movies that encapsulate the entirety of the Civil War, throwing some
You can
minor
also tie in
details
some
out.
TV series too if you're willing to put the budget behind it.
You're going to throw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into it as well.
Well, not just Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but other shows as well.
Well, that's right. They have the Netflix deal with Daredevil and 3 other superheroes.
Mm-hmm. And there's the Daredevil series. There's also, rumor has it, although I don't think he's been officially asked, I think it was more an interview suggested it, and he's expressed interest in the idea of Keanu Reeves playing Doctor Strange.
Keanu Reeves is
What's really scary is I could see it.
Yeah.
And not just because he played Constantine.
My whole thing, though, is that he may lose out compared to who else is actually being considered right now.
Who is being considered for Strange?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I like Benedict Cumberbatch, but Stephen Strange isn't a Brit. Not that he can't do an American accent. Sure, he can do an American accent. I mean, fuck, Superman is a Brit. But, I'm Doctor Strange and Smaug and Sherlock.
And all the fangirls, also officially known as Cumberbitches, will go crazy.
Well, they call themselves Cumberbitches.
They call themselves that.
That.
That's hilarious.
He calls them Cumber Bunnies or something like that.
Something like that. So, I mean, yeah, tying with like Netflix stuff, you have Daredevil, you have Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist. I mean, you can pull those into it.
There's a lot of stuff I want to see where they're going. And the fact that they're bringing in other directors for some of this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and Khan. Don't forget Khan. I'm trying to forget Khan.
No,
I like
Harrison.
Cumberbatch, but that was just a horrible role. He was fine. It's the role that sucked.
Yeah. Well, speaking of casting stuff, let's talk about the other one that you're like so vehemently against. I haven't seen you this pissed off since I told you to watch Dead Man Wonderland.
Yeah.
All right.
First off, which studio is doing it?
DreamWorks. We're talking about the live action.
DreamWorks is doing it?
DreamWorks is doing it because...
Oh my God, they should know better.
Well, you have Spielberg involved on this. That's the reason why... What we're talking about is Ghost in the Shell. A live-action movie adaptation was years ago in, a rights war.
About.
Who was going to take it. And the thing that tipped it over to DreamWorks' side was that Steven Spielberg expressed a severe or a huge interest in making this.
It's a fantastic story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the world, the universe is phenomenal. The movies, the original movie.
Not to mention you and I are huge cyberpunk fans.
Oh yeah. I mean, the fact that it's the whole cyberpunk genre, and then you've got the world that Shiro created, that then got brought to life in the first Ghost in the Shell movie, and then further along in Innocence, which was kind of a bit of a mindfuck, but
yes,
and meandered a bit. And then you've got Standalone Complex, Second Gig, Solid State Society, and now the current series, which is more of a prequel about the creation of District 9.
Right.
Or, not District 9.
Section 9?
Yeah, I mean, the whole universe has the potential to be a phenomenal movie.
Yes.
If you don't go the Dragon Ball route.
I think Hollywood's being a little cautious when they're trying to do anything, after that now.
If they were being cautious, they would not have made the offer.
Well, here's the thing, though. They initially suggested that they were going to actually have Margot Robbie from Wolf of Wall Street to play the lead role of Motoko Kusanagi. Apparently now, they're talking to Scarlett Johansson.
Who is... Okay, I like Scarlett Johansson. I truly do. I get that she wants to be an action star, and she's doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
But she is... I can't believe I'm getting this worked up over this. She's not even remotely Japanese, visually or otherwise.
You're worried about the whitewashing aspect of this whole thing.
Well, and exactly. I mean, that's the big problem. The thing that has killed a lot of the anime adaptations is they try to whitewash them. You know, characters that are not supposed to be Caucasian are miraculously Caucasian. That's what killed Akira.
Mm-hmm.
American audiences can't handle the idea of it taking place in Japan, so instead of being Neo Tokyo, we're going to make it Neo New York, and we're going to make Kaneda a New York boy. And it got to the point where, I mean, it was the fans' uproar that stopped,
Yes.
or that brought it to the attention of execs, because I've actually spoken to the exec who killed the project,
Mm-hmm.
who said, you know, yeah, no, we're getting way too far away from the source material. Kill it. That's why Akira got stopped.
Okay.
I mean, okay.
And you're completely in the right on this.
I think that Scarlett Johansson playing Motoko Kusanagi is a bad idea. Partially because, you know, I mean, yeah, okay, she's not even remotely Japanese, doesn't look Japanese.
Right.
Any makeup tricks would just be going back to, you know, would be a step backwards in progress.
Mm-hmm.
And there are plenty of Asian actresses out there, both Asian American and Japanese, who are more than capable of playing this role and can physically do the stuff. Hell, the girl from Pacific Rim.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
She could do the role. I honestly think she could do it.
easily do the role. I think she would
I
be
mean, with
amazing.
those the fight scenes when her and the guy were sparring,
Mm-hmm.
she shows she can do the physical parts.
Yes.
Now, would I personally pick her? I don't know. I think she could do the role. I think there are others who would be better.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you don't need to keep casting white people in Asian parts.
Keanu Reeves.
47 Ronin.
God, that was so horrible.
I haven't actually seen it.
It wasn't even worth the $1 I paid.
Well, that's why I'm waiting for it to hit Netflix. I don't watch it then, just so I can say I've suffered the pain. But
Oh,
I mean,
it was bad. Oh my God, it was bad.
now that being said, the idea that Keanu Reeves playing Spike Spiegel,
That would be amazing.
I can buy that
Mhm.
because he's not necessarily Asian. And Reeves can do the martial arts. Reeves can do the. I mean, he's skinny enough to do the look.
Yes.
So because he wanted to do bebop,
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. My brain cannot process Scarlett Johansson as Motoko Kusanagi. I'm sorry.
Okay. I actually can. Okay.
I really want to hear your logic on this.
Okay, so let me go through all of this. You know how we talked about at the beginning of the show about the generalization of adaptations into the mainstream media? We all know that some of the intricacies and details and storylines and underlying existential talk that's throughout the Ghost in the Shell franchise will most likely be nicked in one way or another from a live-action movie adaptation by Dreamworks.
I don't know. DreamWorks has done some pretty heady stuff in the past.
They have, but considering in this day and age of essentially quick, fast, loud action movies.
And that's what you don't want Ghost in the Shell to be.
And here's the thing, though. Unfortunately, I kind of foresee this going down that path. And if they're gonna go down this path, whitewash it, generalize it to the point of Joe random guy in Alabama can understand what's going on in Ghost in the Shell, that's gonna require a significant lobotomy.
At that point, I was going to say, at that point, you've lobotomized the story.
Okay.
I mean, if you're trying to make this so that any inbred Jed can comprehend it, then it's not Ghost in the Shell.
Okay.
It's generic cyberpunk movie.
And that's, unfortunately, I'm looking at it as what we're going to get.
Then don't make it fucking Ghost in the Shell.
Agreed. But here's the thing, though. The fact that the rumor, according to Deadline, that DreamWorks has already made a $10 million offer to Scarlett Johansson, for the sole, if anything, for the sole fact that she starred in Lucy. Well, let's face it, was a horrible adaptation of the comic, but it grossed over $400 million worldwide. So you have
they're
that
thinking
aspect
with their wallets, not with the story. Which is that doesn't mean okay, but how do we translate from Hollywood looking at wallets to you saying, yeah, I think she'd do a good job, which is what you said.
Yes, and let me get to that, because with the generalization that's going to happen with the storyline, I think whatever they come out with that is something that I think that Scarlett Johansson could actually do. She'll be able to act that stuff out. There'll be some heady stuff that'll be thrown by the wayside. But any action stuff, obviously we know that she can do it. Is she my ideal actress to play the role of Motoko? No, not by a long shot. But just thinking about the way of who Hollywood has as options in terms of star power, because let's face it, for something like this, they're not going to go with some brand new
I would take
untested
Tia
actress.
Carrere over Scarlett Johansson.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
I'd bring back Tia Carrere before I'd give it to Scarlett Johansson.
All right. Well, I think given
she's at least Asian.
Okay, good point. Here's the thing though. Like I stated, if it's gonna go down this path, and it's looking like more and more like it's going to, at least the action sequences will be nice.
If you're gonna go down this path, which as you said, it looks like it's going to, then get a woman who can embody the strength and the moves.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to Lucy Lawless at that point.
Yeah,
If you have to put a white woman in that role, Lucy Lawless could carry the role off, and has that. I don't want to say depth because they're both cold characters. Can play that. Oh, that's another chick who they could have offered it to, although I wouldn't personally pick her. Is the chick who played Boomer in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
I forget her name, but
I'm just looking at it as they're gonna go for star power on this, and given the list of so-called A-list actors and actresses that may even be considered for a role like this, I think you can do much better, but I don't think you
could definitely do worse.
Exactly. I think Scarlett Johansson can be the middle of the road in terms of that. Now, it depends now on if she takes it on the story and who writes it and how detailed they get into the history of Ghost in the Shell. That's all I'm saying. If they're going to go down the whitewash route,
they're going to have to condense that backline so much. I mean,
okay.
If they go, it also depends on which storyline they go with. Are they going to go with the?
I highly doubt they'll go with the Laughing Man route.
Laughing Man would be another actress who could possibly do it, Lucy Liu.
I can't see Lucy Liu doing it. That's just me.
She can do the physical.
She can do the physical. I'm not doubting that whatsoever. I don't know if she would have. Well,
she's got the act. Come on, the woman kicked ass in Kill Bill.
Yes, she did. I'm not doubting that in the least.
Now, admittedly, she was Chinese, not Japanese, which is something they actually played on for Oren Ishii.
Yes, they did.
But okay, then let's move away from the hotly contested Motoko Kusanagi part, which you and I are definitely not going to agree on.
No, we're not.
Yeah, Nikki says it's okay. You can be wrong.
Well, okay. Here's the other thing: Margot Robbie, who was initially offered the role for Motoko, dropped it because she's now being offered a role in Suicide Squad, which most likely means Margot Robbie is going to play Harley Quinn.
I have to see I don't know who Margot Robbie is off the top of my head.
Do a search for Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street, and you'll understand who I'm talking about.
All right, I'll do that. So let's move on a little bit.
Okay.
If ignoring Scarlett Johansson,
ignoring
the worst possible Motoko I can think of,
ignoring casting issues.
Is it Margot or Marco?
Margot, Margot.
Margot Robbie, R-O-B-I?
R-O-B-B-I-E.
B-I-E. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I know.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't take it. I see her. I don't like the idea of her as Harley visually, but I could see her more as Harley than I can as Motoko.
Okay. For those in the chat who don't know who Margot Robbie is, that's her.
Okay. Who would you see as Bateau? And who would you see as God? What is his name? The head of Section 9.
Aramaki.
I know who I would love to. I know who I would see as Aramaki off the top of my head.
Who would you see?
Ken Watanabe.
Yeah, that'd be kind of badass.
Ken Watanabe as Aramaki would be pretty badass. Mm-hmm. You're gonna laugh at me when I tell you who I think could be a decent Bateau. You're gonna laugh your ass off at me, but I think he could do it.
Who? Dave Bautista?
Ron Perlman.
That I'm all for. Ron Perlman
He
would
could
be
totally
epic.
pull it off.
He would totally
He's
pull
got
it
the
off.
bulk. He's got the build.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see his fucking eyes anyway because of those stupid caps.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter what race he is.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be a wise choice.
I think Perlman would be an excellent Bato. and can you just come on? Can you not see Ron Perlman carrying around a minigun?
This gun is mine for my personal collection. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh God.
Nightstar's suggesting John Hurt.
As Bato?
No, I'm guessing probably
Or as Aramaki.
As Aramaki, maybe.
Again, not Asian. He could do it,
Yeah.
especially the way he carried off the War Doctor.
Oh God, he was great in that.
He was fantastic as the War Doctor.
And if you want to go for more on the political aspect, he was fantastic in V for Vendetta.
Oh yeah, no, he was very good. Yeah, who should play? What's the?
Okay, well let's continue on with this. Who do you think should play? Let's see who else is in Section 9.
The one who's not augmented much.
Yeah, the detective.
I forget the character's name.
I'm a horrible fan for forgetting this
I
name.
know, me too, because I know the voice actor. I know the voice actor personally.
Yes.
It's Crispin's role.
Yes.
And honestly, oh God, what is his damn name?
Togusa. Yes.
Okay, admittedly, not Japanese, but honestly, give it to Crispin.
You think, well,
in the live action, he could do it.
He could easily do it, and he already has the voice that a lot of the fans will tie into.
Exactly. Another one who could do it, who honestly I think has the chops to do it, is David Hayter.
It'd be nice to see Hayter again in a movie.
Hayter's more of a writer. I mean, he's got Solid Snake going, but he's more of a writer.
True, very true.
But he would be. I mean, he's another person who could do it. I mean, if you're going to whitewash the cast, at least get people in there who can do the damn job.
You know who I think would also work very well as Togusa?
Mm-hmm.
Carl Urban.
No. Well,
I think he could. He already has that. I mean, it's not going to be an equal character design, but as far as a character personality, Carl Urban.
Yeah, Carl Urban could do it. I mean, if you're insistent on whitewashing it, yeah.
Yeah, you
can do it.
Yeah,
and you get your star power that way.
Yep.
What about the other guys that are in the background?
You would probably have to start grabbing like no names to fill out those roles.
But also, which story man would they go for? Would they go for? I mean, you're right. Would they do Laughing Man? Would they do Solid State Society? Would they do Puppet Master? Which I think Puppet Master would be a fantastic storyline.
I think Puppet Master would probably
do it in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But excuse me, they've proven that.
Mm-hmm. I think Puppet Master would probably be the way to go. I easily can't see Solid State Society being done. I definitely can't see the stories that they're doing in Arise.
Solid State Society was a 2-hour movie.
It was a 2-hour movie, but the only reason
why... But it had all the setup of Gits behind it.
Exactly. You needed the 54 episodes of Standalone Complex in order to build up so you can just jump into a storyline.
That's
into
true.
That. So, yeah, I think Puppet Master will probably be the best option. And given the fact that you get someone like Spielberg who's interested, who's read the manga, most likely is going to want to do something from there. So I'm guessing they'll probably go with the...
Wait, Spielberg's actually read the manga?
If I remember correctly in an article, Steven Spielberg has read it and is a fan, so...
Yet he's offering it to Scarlett Johansson. Okay.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I like it so much, I'm going to completely pervert it. I'm going to make it like... I'm gonna turn it into my bitch. It's gonna be my version of Sexy Pikachu. It's just, oh man, no, don't do this. Don't do this.
Oh, sorry, he didn't read the manga. He saw the first. You saw the 2 Ghost in the Shell movies. So Puppet Master.
Which okay, yeah, if he's going that, well, the Puppet Master, the second one. Oh God.
Well, Innocence was just a mindfuck as is.
Well, it was, but Innocence was. I'm trying to remember the core story. I mean, there was a core storyline there, and there were actually like 3 of them running in tandem.
Mm-hmm.
But the primary storyline of Innocence was... God, I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen... I need to go back and watch it.
Okay. Well, you have the DVD.
Yeah, I know you're ashamed of me. Sorry, she's ashamed of me because I can't remember what the core storyline of Innocence was. Other than Bato's Bassett.
Hey, that Basset Hound was awesome.
Bassett was awesome.
All right, well, I say
Okay,
give
let's
it.
move on. We spent enough
I
time
was
on
gonna
me
say we've
kvetching about
spent basically
Scarlett
the
Johansson.
entire hour on the movie stuff. We spent half of it on Ghost in the Shell, which is cool and all. So we'll leave all the tech stuff that happened this past week for next week, which was all the Nexus stuff plus all the Apple stuff. Let's. Do we want to talk about anything else before we jump to what we've been watching? Because I know you have Man of Steel waiting in the back of your mind.
Yeah, we should. A lot of these can carry over to next week.
Exactly. I say we just jump over to what we're watching because I'm really curious to hear.
Yeah, we kind of burned a lot of time on Gits.
Well, that's perfectly fine though, because I'm sure we'll revisit this over time.
Okay, I just got reminded what the storyline was.
Yeah, gotcha.
Little girls being kidnapped and farmed for their ghosts.
Yep.
Putting sex bioroids for sale. I completely forgot about that storyline. God, I feel like an idiot for forgetting that. I need to watch it again. That's all there is to it.
Well, there you go. So, Man of Steel, what'd you think of it?
Okay. I have 2 reviews for Man of Steel.
All right.
I have the review as a fan. Oh, I mean, I'm not a hardcore Soups fan, but I'm enough of a Soups fan that I know the canon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the review of if you know next to nothing about Superman beyond the fact that it's a character. If you coming at it from that aspect, it's not a bad movie. The storyline's pretty good. They actually tried, don't know how well they succeeded, but they tried to give some depth to Zod as the hero of his own story.
Right.
Because he was doing what he thought was right, because that's what he was bred to do. By the way, this is going to be spoilerific, so if you haven't seen Man of Steel, you need to stop right now for a little while and start it up.
Yeah.
Later. Because there's going to be a couple really big spoilers in here.
Okay.
They took as a someone who's not a hardcore fan of Soups, but enjoys the character. They took a lot of liberties with canon, a lot.
Well, yes.
They kept some of the core. They actually fixed something that in my mind has been a glaring error forever. I mean, how can a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter not have put 2 and 2 together that Superman, Clark Kent, Superman, Clark Kent? I mean, they even made in the show with Dean Cain and what's her name, the series. You know, there's one point where when Mxyzptlk comes on, went with oh God, what is his damn name? Bald guy, hates to touch people. Howie Mandel. When Howie Mandel played Mxyzptlk, he actually said to me, he's like, how could you not get glasses? You can't tell? I mean, that's been a long-going flaw for me. How could she not tell that Clark Kent was freaking Superman just because he put the damn glasses on? They kind of fixed that in this movie.
Yeah.
So that part I was actually kind of okay, because she should have known from forever. Although I kind of like the little nudge, nudge, wink, wink they did at the end when he actually goes to the planet. If you're a hardcore Superman fan, this movie's going to piss you the hell off in a lot of ways.
Worse than Superman Returns?
Okay, so Superman Returns... Superman Returns I actually liked. Because, now hear me out. Superman Returns, basically, to me, is the proper sequel to the second Superman movie. It's the second Christopher Reeve movie. I'm ignoring everything after the second Christopher Reeve movie. I mean, I love Christopher Reeve. In my heart of hearts, Christopher Reeve was Superman.
Mm-hmm.
He's who I grew up with. He's who I saw. I thought he embodied the role perfectly. Better than the original. Better than the Steve Reeve version, in my opinion. Christopher Reeves was Soups. Everything after movie 2, so like, what was it, Quest for Peace, and what was the third one? Third one was with Richard Pryor.
Yes, having him as a villain was just like, really?
Yeah, I mean, those 2 movies, it's kind of like Matrix 2 and 3. Forget they exist. So to me, Superman Returns was what should have been Superman 3, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it effectively continued that storyline.
Effectively, yes.
With the kid being his.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He disappears for a while after what happens with Zod and everybody, and he comes back. So I actually I thought Kevin Spacey was phenomenal as Lex Luthor. He was, I mean, he was better than Gene Hackman.
Yes,
He was fantastic as Lex Luthor.
I would hope I was hoping that they were going to bring him back to play Lex in Man of
That would
Steel.
be that would be great.
Oh God,
If
come
they
on!
could do that, that would be awesome. I don't think they're gonna, but it would be
No,
awesome.
no, they're not.
But the way they turned, but what they did with Zod in Man of Steel was a logical. It gave him more depth
Okay.
because even though Superman 2 was better than Superman 1 on the Christopher Reeve zone, let's be honest, Zod was a really freaking shallow character. I mean, it was a black and white bad guy. White good, black bad.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I mean, it was a cut and dry. He's a bad guy without any details, without a lot of background as to why.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him depth. I'll give him that. They made him the hero of his own story.
Yes, exactly.
A shallow hero, but they at least gave him some backlog.
Yes, it was very shallow in the sense of I was bred to do this. You cannot change me on that.
Right. This is what I'm going to. And
Though,
that led to the part that really pissed me off.
What, the I will find him thing?
No.
Because that whole scene was, I will find him. I will find him. Like, how many times are you going to say this?
Well, yeah. But the interesting twist when they found out that the codex had been imprinted was an interesting touch. I wish they'd have planted the seed for Brainiac.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
I mean, they could have. They didn't. The thing that where a lot of people, and myself included, but especially hardcore Superman fans, will hate this movie. Given everything that's happened, Superman has never deliberately killed. No matter what, he has never taken a life consciously.
Right.
People have died as a periphery, as a secondary casualty to his actions, but not counting the Injustice storyline, where he loses it and kills kills Joker after Joker nukes his kid.
That was great.
Well, no, he didn't go. And just, boom, he ripped his heart out.
That's right. I thought it was just snap the neck.
No, he literally punched him in the heart, ripped out his heart. The Injustice storyline alone, which is a great storyline, by the way. Supes has never killed.
Well,
and
if you go far into the outreaches, yes, he has. You know, Titan, who escaped from the Phantom Zone, and I mean, there are options out there. But
they set it up to where he had no choice.
Right.
I get that.
Okay.
They went out of their way to set it up. I mean, they had him explain, you know, you can't blah blah blah. You don't have the gall to do it. Yada yada yada. And he starts, you know, the thing where he does it to save humanity. I get why he broke Zod's neck. Just snap, boom, he's done. And I get that there's now that gives him that critical flaw, that critical weakness, because he realizes that he has taken a life. But he's never done it before. And that, more than anything else, is what pissed me off about the movie. Is that they put him in a position where he had to do that. I get why he did it. It's a completely logical action. It makes sense. In that circumstance, he had no choice. But although I really like the end where he's meeting the general out in the middle of nowhere and he just crashes the drone.
Yeah,
like,
that was
I know you're trying to find out where I hang my cape. Don't.
That was quite nice, actually. Yes.
So on the one hand, I enjoyed parts of it. I enjoyed a lot of it. I really liked is it Ursa? Ursula? No, Ursa. She's not Ursa in this movie. She's Feora or something like that. But she's effectively the Ursa character from Superman 2.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And then they had the big guy too. Only they never named him. You know, so they basically had the three main guys from Superman 2. And then a bunch of periphery characters. But
yes.
I kind of wish they'd have kept the name though, because she was better as Ursa.
No, you're talking about Faora? F-A-O-R? Yeah.
I actually liked her, and I liked the actress who played her. I mean, she She was good. Just the whole boom, 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 do shit, kill stuff, people, blow stuff up, whatever. It was great.
What about Russell Crowe as Jor-El?
I was okay with that. I know a lot of people hated it.
I was
I was
fine with
okay
it.
with it. I thought he did a really good job for what it was. The trick they did where they were having when he was in the computer and he was just like, boom, go this way, boom, go this way, and he was just like teleporting ahead of her at the various points. That made perfect sense to me. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool that they did that. What I don't get is he uploaded himself to the ship. He took over the ship. They obviously didn't figure that out at some point, and they were able to launch. I mean, if he was up in the ship, he could have solved the entire problem right there and just blown the shit up.
Yes, very true.
They could have blown the ship up right there. Problem solved.
There was one thing about that movie that truly, truly pissed me off, which was how they handled the death of Jonathan Kent. Because that was annoying as hell. In the sense that
the whole noble sacrifice
you
thing.
Can't, puts his hand up, don't come save me. And he stood there for about 35 seconds of screen time. When he could have
perfectly still in the middle of a freaking tornado.
Yes. And here's the thing, though. If he was trying to make a point, there's ways to make a point. Not willingly sacrifice yourself pointlessly when you could have easily run away, saved yourself, run away to the ditch, and then have his son to save him that way. There are ways around it.
Oh, there are.
But
yes.
I mean, the parts with Kevin Costner playing Jonathan Kent, trying to help out, a young Clark find his way. I'm fine with that. It's just that scene of him trying to prove this point of don't save me, try to,
Yeah, sometimes you have to sacrifice to keep things.
I almost ripped my hair out when I was watching that. It was annoying.
That I agree with you. I think Costner being cast as Jonathan Kent was good. I thought he did a good job as the father mentor figure. I was okay with that. But yeah. It's the death of Jonathan Kent was lame.
Yeah.
In both the 70s version and this version.
Yeah. So enough of my ranting on that.
No, I'll back you on that. I just I just can't get past the Soups just did the on Zod,
which makes you wonder.
He should have found a way to. I mean, he had him in a fucking sleeper hole. The dude's gonna pass the F out
yes.
at some point. Banish his ass to the Phantom Zone.
So it makes me wonder how that's gonna all tie into Batman v Soups.
Oh yeah, no, I'm wondering what's gonna happen when they. I mean, yeah. I want to know where they're going to go with it.
Because now we've proven the point in this new DC universe, or cinematic universe, that he will kill.
Yeah, given the right circumstances, he can and will.
So we'll see. They're already bringing everyone in to try to get their cinematic universe going. I do have to mention, though, I know a moment ago we were talking about Lex Luthor in Superman Returns.
Yeah, the Easter eggs of LexCorp.
They already confirmed who's playing Lex in this movie.
Oh yeah, that's right, they did.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, unless they're capitalizing on the whole the fact that he played Zuckerberg.
I honestly think
the young CEO type.
I honestly that's what they're going to do.
Because you saw the LexCorp tankers.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
What else have we been watching? I'm kind of behind on a lot of stuff. Flash, and Superman Returns are pretty much, or no, not Superman Returns. I like Superman Returns. Man of Steel. By the way, the guy they cast as Soups was good. I thought he was great.
Oh yeah, no, I think
he did a good job.
Yeah, Henry Cavill or how
Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
Cavill did a great job. Wasn't impressed with Lois. I thought Lawrence Fishburne's Perry White was awesome.
Adams, are you really expecting anything deep from her?
Yeah. Morpheus as Perry White was pretty awesome.
Yeah. That was actually kind of working well.
Oh God, the thing with the captain at the end. What are you smirking about, Captain? Nothing, sir. What is it, Captain? I think he's kind of hot. Really? You gonna throw that line in there? Really?
Of course.
Jesus.
Yes, they're going to throw that stuff in there. Are you current on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No.
Get current on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Grab
the watch
As soon as this costume's done, I'll get current on it. As soon as the costume's done and all my characters have the legendary cloak, we'll get current on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Speaking of which, if you want that cloak, Get your ass in game.
I know I need to.
No, dude, they took out Chapter 2. You don't have to do the 3-week Valor grind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as of this last patch, they made radical changes, including pulling the entirety of Chapter 2 of the Legendary Cloak quest.
Mm-hmm.
It's now easier. You don't have the built-in 3-week break.
I have an idea what I'm going to be doing this next week.
You need to get your butt in game if you want that cloak.
That's good to know. I like it. We'll jump into that. Oh, it's been a good episode.
I like to think so.
It's nice.
A lot of me ranting.
Hey, the ranting, our whole spiel on who we really, well, given the circumstances, who we think would be good for Ghost in the Shell. Aside from Motoko,
I really want to see Perlman as Bateau. That would be awesome.
That would be amazing. It's the best fit.
Hannibal Chow to Bateau. Let's do it.
Well, given the fact Hannibal Chow's me around and semi-busy anyways for Pacific Rim 2 and possibly 3.
Yeah.
So they have that coming out. That'll be fun. But anyways, I think that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll be back next Sunday. Also, if you haven't watched the new Anna Breaks in a YouTube format, it's on the website. But yeah, stay tuned for a short post show. And yeah, for From My Mother's Basement, I'm Jason.
I am Michael.
And we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.